with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I am here with my lovely wife, Dr. Alicia Watkins. How you doing today, babe?
I'm doing well this morning. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
Do you?
Yeah, yeah,
How'd you
yeah.
sleep last night?
I slept like a baby. I slept next to you. That's pretty cool.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah, you're soft. You're the human pillow.
But you're cuddly too, so
I think I am.
you
I
are.
tend to believe that.
Mm-hmm.
How's everybody doing today? Let me know how you're doing today. Also, let's do a quick mic check. Make sure we're coming through all right. Can you guys hear us? Let us know if you can hear us okay. And just as a warning, in case you can't hear us at some point, we sometimes back out and come back in, but I don't think that'll be an issue today. So give us a yes in the chat if you can hear us all right. And so today we're going to, as you guys give us the yeses, and as everybody comes in, I want everybody to know about our topic today. Our topic is pretty interesting. It's this thing that we read about called relationship pocketing.
Mm-hmm.
Has anybody heard about? Give us a yes also if you've heard about relationship pocketing. I think that's an interesting conversation for our resident couples therapist. So relationship pocketing. In case you don't know what it is, Stacy and Charlene and Lisa, is that Lisa Lewis? In case you don't know, relationship pocketing is when you don't post the person that you're dating on social media.
Keep it all secret.
Yeah, you keep it to yourself.
Ain't none of nobody's business.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and apparently they attach all this sinister motivation to relationship pocketing. Like if you're getting pocketed, you kind
Mm-hmm.
of, that means I think they said, one lady said, if you're being pocketed, that means you're a sister wife or something.
You don't even know it. You're a sister wife. You don't even know it.
Yeah, yeah. So what did you think about that? I mean, what did you think about this whole pocketing concept in general?
Is it just social media, or is it more than just social media? Because there's one thing if you're being pocketed throughout somebody's whole entire life. Like, I've never met your mama or your daddy or your brother and your sister or any of your friends. It's just me and you together. That's
Mm.
another thing with, pocketing. Or is it just like a closed pocket with the zipper up? And we just hook up at night?
So like if they, yeah, yeah,
What
I
kind
think.
of pocket is it?
Oh, okay. So yeah, so there's a lot of ways to so called get pocket. Like so, if somebody's like, I didn't, I don't have any relatives, I don't have any friends. It's just me.
Well,
That's
I
it.
got them. It's just me and you. We don't have to worry about all that.
Uh, so it's, and you know what it makes me think about. I remember reading somewhere where they said that when you're in a relationship where somebody's trying to abuse you, they also might try to isolate you. Like whether it's male or female, like I don't want you around. Like so, it's not even just so it's like a different kind of pocketing, where it's like maybe you call it pigeonholing or something, right?
Oh wait,
So pocketing,
that's different from pocketing though.
very different, very different. But to me, it could have a similar spirit to pigeonholing in the sense of kind of saying that if I want to maintain control of something, I involve as many or as few external forces as possible, right? So on pocketing, it's where I don't introduce you to my friends, I don't bring you on my social media, I don't want anybody on my side of the family, so to speak, to know anything about you. But then maybe the other side, the pigeonholing, as I've called it, or the abusive form of control would be I'm not only am I isolating you from the people that are in my life, I want you isolated from the people that are in yours.
Oh, those people, those closed people, they're just closed off. So
Yeah, just
so
me and you.
so the person you're dating, they can't even get in contact with their own family
Or
and their
maybe
own
they
friends.
can get in contact with them,
Good
but
grief.
it's like I say something like I took a job in Alaska, and if you love me, you'll move away from you'll leave DC and come with me to Alaska.
Oh my gosh. So we're going on. That's a whole nother topic.
I think it is
That's
too.
another topic. Okay, so what reason would someone have not to show their partner on social media? So it's one thing to hide your partner, but it's another thing to just be like, "Oh my god, here we go." Just TMI on social media about their relationship.
Um,
That's two
well, let
different
me ask
things, right?
everybody in the chat this. I'm gonna ask y'all. Give me a yes or no. Answer this shit. Give me a yes or no answer here. If you were dating somebody and you were serious about them, and they refused to post you on social media, they refused to tell any of their Facebook friends about the relationship, you go on a trip. Maybe a lot of pictures are taken, but none of them appear on social media.
They,
And
they
then
want to just do selfies.
right, they only do so.
Like, wait, I was
Oh,
on that trip.
oh, or
They
they
say
or they
nothing.
take a picture. Yeah, or they even maybe even tell you like, don't post my picture with you on social media. Would you consider that to be a red flag, or would you consider that to just be somebody who likes to maintain their privacy, doesn't want to move too fast? What do y'all think? I mean, do you think it's necessarily sinister? Um,
You gotta ask them what's going on. Like, what's happening that you want to keep things private?
mm,
You know why? You know, some people just believe. Some people just have a personal philosophy. I don't put my relationship on social media. You can meet my friends and family. You can meet people that are close to me that are my real friend. I don't know if Facebook friends are your real friends.
mm,
So, you know, my actual face to face friends that I actually spend time with, yeah, you can hang out with me. We can do that. But I don't want to put my relationship out on social media. I'm going to tell you, it's really interesting because, like, I've seen since I haven't really been engaged in social media until me and you started dating. I was never on social media. No one ever knew anything was happening with me because I just didn't feel like I needed to post a picture of my meal, what I ate for the day. I didn't feel like it needed to be on social media
mm-hmm.
or anything nonetheless. But so you open me up to this new world. But you know, there's just some people, you know, I've seen on social media, there are people like, oh look, they got married. And then a year later, I'm like, oh look, they she totally removed him from her page. They must not have worked out. Oh, look at that. So you can tell an entire trajectory of a relationship on social media. I don't know how people feel. It can be a little intrusive.
Well, I'll say this. I can even say that I didn't post. I dated when I was single. And I've been on Facebook since what about '09, and I've dated since '09 before you and I got together and got married. And I almost never posted any of my dating situations on social media. And in my case, it was because it wasn't. It's like why why does everybody need to know? Because it's not like I'm sure that this person is gonna be Mrs. Watkins. None of them were. But when I met Mrs. Watkins, I posted her, right?
Ah,
Because I felt like it was more permanent, right? So I think that keeping somebody off social media could mean a lot of things. But I definitely believe that when you put someone on social media,
that means a lot.
I think it's pretty clear. It's a clear
So
indicator.
wait, voice, you were no player, were you? Were
No,
you playing
I
around?
wasn't a player. I wasn't a player,
Did you
but
have a bunch of people all over the
nah,
place, sprinkled all over the
nah,
place?
nah. You know what it
You got to
was?
answer a lot of questions that you can't quite answer.
Well, in my case, I was kind of grappling with what it means to have a big platform on social media,
Okay.
what it means to be a quote unquote public figure, if I even want to use that terminology, which sounds a little bit weird, but I was trying to learn what that meant, and you go back and forth between making things public versus being extremely private. You don't know what the right balance is. So I think that in my own life, I felt just out of fairness to the person I was dating that I didn't necessarily want to drag you into my chaotic internet life. Because that's the thing. Remember when you and I, when I put our video of our proposal online, and I did it because I wanted everybody. I get just out of principle. I kind of feel like Black love matters, and I kind of wanted younger people to kind of see like, hey, Black women are awesome. Like, there's nothing wrong with showing love to a Black woman. And the video went viral, got over 1 million views, but not all the responses were positive.
So, but wait, was I on? You put me on social media before then, right?
Yeah, I think before
Was I
then
up
maybe
there
we
before
we
then?
when we started
Okay.
running our races and stuff.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So I was there. So any of those other women that you dated, were they kind of like, how come you ain't put me up there? Were they a little kind of
Um,
salty?
I don't know. I didn't ask. I didn't ask.
Well, did they say something to you?
I
Like,
think that they
did they just wait for you to
well,
ask?
I think that if it's like if you're talking about, remember you can
Were
only
they posting you on their social media?
sometimes, but not a lot. Every now and then though, I would pop up because somebody would be like, "Oh, look, Dr. Boyce Watkins came to my birthday party or whatever." So I think maybe for some people it was a source of pride.
Okay. Well, I'm talking about the people you're dating. Not.
Yeah,
Oh,
people.
really? It
Yeah,
was a pride thing for them.
yeah. I mean, that it comes with the territory. It's like maybe for some people, maybe for some women, dating me meant like, I think women want to be proud of their man, right? So I tended to bump into women that that knew me before I knew them.
They knew you for okay. So you were dating your fans, boys.
No, I wasn't dating my fans. I would be out
What was
somewhere.
going on?
No, well, remember, it wasn't fans. I don't use stupid terms like that. These were people that just knew of me, and because maybe they read my articles or
Oh,
seen.
they sent you a DM. You got in the DM voice.
Yeah, sometimes,
They
but
were in your DMs.
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
it's. I like intelligent black women. I mean, when I was single, that was my preference.
Uh huh.
You're an intelligent black woman, and so I
But I
would.
wasn't. I wasn't in your DMs, so
You weren't in. Well, you were my friend from 20 something years ago.
yeah.
So that's different. You were in DMs before DMs were a thing.
I was all in your DM back in the 90s.
You was in my DM in the 90s. Yeah, yeah. So ultimately, I think it's um I don't know. I kind of feel like it's one of those things where um when you post, I think that when you post somebody on social media, it means something, right? When you post them and they post you, I don't think it's necessarily sinister when they don't post you, but it could be, right? I think it also comes down to like what your goals are in the relationship. Some people don't care. Some people are like, yeah, what happens between us is private. I don't really want everybody knowing anyway. And it's not always. I mean, I know that when I read the articles about relationship pocketing,
Yeah. What did the article say? I'm
well, the
curious.
articles kind of laid it out like, girl, if you don't post you on social media, you just a sister wife. You're getting played. And
That could be true in some
it could
cases.
be, but I know a lot of women who won't post the man they're dating on social media.
Mm-hmm.
They don't necessarily want everybody to know.
Well, it's levels to this, right? But I'm just giving multiple perspectives. You know how I am. So
Hmm.
maybe there's levels to this. Maybe it's just like, at the beginning, I'm gonna give you some time, see how it works. And then, okay, we stepped it up a level. Okay, we're exclusive now. Okay, maybe now we're at the level where after, a year or so, you're social media worthy.
Hmm.
Maybe it's just an agreement people have or just an understanding. It makes sense though.
And Charles says people post what they are proud of. I agree with that.
That is so true. So yeah, that is very true.
That's true. Yes, yeah, that's a good point.
Like some people can be married to someone and just be like, oof, I can't post my spouse on this social media. They just not proud
Ooh.
of them like that. Or
Well,
they can tell that this ain't gonna be forever. So let me just
well, it
you
seems
never
like
know.
on social media that's kind of like a front facing kind of thing where it's like I'm gonna post my best life, me living my best life, and all the things about my life that make my life better than yours. And maybe if you got like an ugly, irritating spouse, you might be like, that's not the
Oh,
best part of
that's
my life.
terrible to be married to someone like that. Yeah, but I'm sure it happens. But okay. So that's a good point. You post what you're proud of, but I didn't even. You know what? I think you posted me on your social media, and I wasn't
Mhm.
posting anything on my social media
Yeah. I,
because I just don't do that.
yeah, I think it's a personal preference for
Yeah.
sure. Right. And I think it definitely is one of those things where you, I was heavily involved with social media because that became a great way for me to connect with a lot of people that I wanted to touch with things like financial literacy and
Hmm.
black wealth training and stuff like that. Like I felt
It's your
like,
business.
well, it was business, but it was also a mission.
Hmm.
It was a gospel for me. It
Well,
was
isn't
some
that all the same? Like your business is your mission. It's who you
for some
are.
people it's just business. For me, it was
Okay.
never just business because
Right. That's what I mean.
there's a lot of years I wasn't making any money doing any of that stuff. I just did it because I
Well,
felt like,
business and making money, two separate things.
yeah, but it wasn't. I didn't. It wasn't strictly business. Like I was in there
Uh-huh.
really kind of saying, like I really want to connect with the people that I know that I meet on social media, and it's not. Um, and you had mentioned that Facebook friends are not your real friends. They're not. I wouldn't use terms like real and fake. I would say they're just different. It's a different kind of friendship. I like social media. I feel like I get
I
to
know
know.
you do.
Well, I get to know a person better through digital connection sometimes than you can through personal connection because I
Mhm.
found that personal connection you get distracted by what you see. If somebody's really attractive, you forget that they're stupid, or you might look past, or especially for men, she got a nice booty, so you think that she's a great woman because she's got a great body or whatever. But if you see her brain first, which comes out like
Oh,
when you,
come on. These women on social media, and we've talked about it, they not showing their brains.
no,
They
well,
showing,
right.
they know what they, sometimes
So
they'll be saying stuff, and I'll be like, okay, you know what you're doing, showing all your little
yeah,
cleavage.
but not every woman does that, right? So there are a
But
lot.
there's a lot of women that just show their cleavage. They really don't have, they got like, their brain is maybe a 5 out of 10.
And that's true, right? And I agree. On the male
You
side,
know.
you have the Derek Jacksons who take, do videos with their shirt off and
Yes.
all that, right? And I get that, but then also you have people who don't do any of that, right?
Yeah.
You have millions of people who post on social media,
They keep it
and they
professional.
and they write, they'll write an article, and you get to know what's on their mind, and I like that because that allows me to see what kind of intelligence level you have, and so I was always discerning about that. Sure, I could appreciate a beautiful woman, but but before I really took you seriously, I needed to know what kind of brain you had.
Hmm.
So social media, I found when I was dating, was a great way to get to know somebody without being distracted by what you look like, what you smell like, and all that stuff.
I think social media is great when you're dating because you have to look at their pages and see what they post, and
That
that
too.
tells you so much about them.
Hmm.
And you could just see like, okay, I always get like, there's some people that I connect with from high school that's like really kind of cool. But I can just see them like, okay, so they're posting Bible quotes every day. So
Hmm.
they're really into, church. It just tells you. It just
Yeah.
tells you all sorts of things about
It,
them.
I think it does too.
Hmm.
And by the way, everybody, you're listening to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. So if I sound like I'm laying against my pillow, it's because I am. And if you could take 1 second, please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. Also, Dr. Alicia is a licensed therapist, a certified life coach, and a full professor of social work. So if you'd like to learn more about what she does, you can visit coachingwithdralicia.com or follow her at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. Let's flip the script a little bit. So we're getting ready for in a few months the All Black National Convention, and which I'm
Ooh
super
wee.
excited because you brought speed dating into it, and
So we
that
are doing that again. That is so great.
yeah, well look, I mean the convention is always
Singles, all you singles
well
that want to post your new person on social media.
Keisha Ravenel met her fiance at the last convention.
Yeah.
They didn't meet at the speed dating. She was going to speed
She
dating.
was
He
on her
wasn't.
way down. But I think it was just interesting that they talked and she's like, I'm going down to speed dating. That means, hello, I'm single.
Yeah, and he told her like once you're done with all the zeros, get with a
Get with
hero.
this hero.
Yeah, yeah,
That's so great.
yeah. And so but yeah, so the convention's happening at the end of October in Charlotte, and it's really a lot of fun. It's a great gathering spot for intelligent Black people, people that want to be intelligent, people that want to do better, people that want our community to win. And so we are, super oriented toward intelligence, family, success, all kinds of things that
When
make Black people better.
when is it? When is the convention?
October 28th through October 30th in Charlotte, North Carolina.
In Charlotte, North Carolina.
Hmm.
All right.
Yeah, yeah. So anybody who's listening to this live for today, until midnight tonight, you can actually get 30% off your passes for the convention. So feel free to go to boycewatkins.com if you'd like to go take a look. I put a link right there on my website. But it's really, really fun. And we've done a lot of events all around the world. And a lot of them are sold out. It's, tons and tons of people. And I think that I don't remember what the city we were in for this one, but maybe that was London or Atlanta
Man,
or
people,
Philly.
I mean, I would, people are just ready. I think people just ready to connect, not just on social media, but I think there's value to connecting to someone in person. Like when someone talks to you, it's something when it's done digitally or even text messaging, but when you meet with somebody and you look them in the eye and you see what they say in their body language and all of that together, nothing can substitute that,
Yeah, yeah.
being in person. Because I even just like the convention, I'm sure it's going to be digital too. Is it a digital
Yeah,
component?
yeah. Well, we have a digital version of the convention. It's a scaled down version.
Hmm.
And it is available. but also I really try to encourage people to try to make the trip if they can, because there's nothing like really talking to somebody face to
Yeah,
face,
I really do
giving them a
think.
hug.
And it means a lot more. Like once you connect with someone on a personal level, it makes the digital, because you got to go back to your respective cities and you have these connections. But then it just brings more meaning to life when you connect digitally or
I
somewhere
mean,
on
you mean
social
physical?
media.
Wait, I
When
mean,
you connect physically with someone and then you sync up social media accounts together, when you
oh,
go
right.
back home, it just makes it more meaningful because you have like a real live person behind that, that digital face.
Yeah, yeah. I think it does.
Just
It definitely.
enhances, I think.
Well, one response to the whole digital versus physical debate definitely is to say just do both, right? Connect in the metaverse, connect in the universe. So, anyway, if anybody wants to get your passes for the convention at a 30% discount, for today, we're doing the early bird special. So, if you're interested, go to boycewatkins.com. We will sell out this year. Last year was so explosively awesome that literally we sold hundreds of tickets
My mind is so
right after.
blown that we are going to be sold out.
Yeah, yeah, it
It
was.
really.
Yeah, it was packed and it was awesome last year. So we're also going to have speed dating in addition to the B1 Gala and awards ceremony. We believe Black people should give our own awards. We also have tons and tons of Black education, everything from crypto to relationships to investing in the stock market to politics to everything you want to know. So tons of keynotes and
Yeah.
speakers and panels. And so if you're into that kind of thing and you want to be in a space where people think like you, just go to boycewatkins.com, take a look at the convention, and feel free to, give it a try. All right, so let's get back to this issue of what was it called, relationship pocketing.
Pocketing.
Yeah, okay, so pocketing. Um, and by the way, I know some of y'all are happy that this is not a Will and Jada topic because I know that's been talked into the ground. But
But even when you think like it's been talked into a ground, like more stuff comes up that's worthy to be said.
well, Will and Jada kind of do the opposite of pocketing. Like
They're
they're on
doing
social media too much.
they're I think I love the idea of the red table talk. Honestly, it really did a great job of talking about and having people up there. I think it was really good conversation she was having, but I really thought that we knew just a little too much about their relationship.
Yeah, I did. I
It
did.
was kind of like everything out there. Like really,
Well, I got it. I was invited to be on the red
I
table talk.
know. Poor thing, you just
I
had
couldn't.
surgery, so you
Unfortunately,
couldn't.
I couldn't talk.
But
Like, you need to be able to talk to be on the red table talk. Yeah,
you had just gotten surgery,
yeah.
and they
I
reached
just
out to you.
they sure did. I think they picked Van Jones. I would have probably picked him over me anyway.
Van Jones.
He's a better fit
Do
for
you
me.
think he's a better draw?
I think. Well, I think he's a better fit for that. For their politics and
The
everything.
politics
I don't
thing.
get into the whole Democrat Republican thing. Whereas like some of the celebs, they'll go campaign for a politician. That's not my kind of thing. But it was an honor to even be considered. And I um I think that with Red Table Talk, that's my issue with it is that sometimes you could do a little bit too much red table talking. Like I mean, I think Red Table Talk I think there should be some kind of filter like that when they talked about August Alsina
Oh
and
boy.
that whole entanglement, that I felt like that was an embarrassment. I feel like that kind of.
Well, it's clearly Will Smith. I mean, if you look at his face, you just look at his disposition, he was very uncomfortable with it.
Yeah, well,
It just wasn't, it just shouldn't have been done.
what I noticed though that was interesting is it didn't seem to affect their family status as a high powered media family. Like they had, I saw a list of all Will Smith's movie projects, and he has a ton of projects that are all worth millions of dollars. So they're still making money. They're still doing fine in that regard. But it seemed to me like, and I think even after the slap, it's gonna be fine, right? Like I think he's gonna make money, but it's almost like it just kind of tarnished them. I don't know, like Michelle and Barack would never do something like that.
No, we don't
Beyonce and
know that.
Jay-Z, I couldn't see them doing that. Will and Jada kind of went to a land that nobody has gone to before.
Yeah, and they purposely did that. They're like, we're going to talk about this purposely. We
Yeah,
purposely are going to talk about this.
yeah. So maybe they should have pocketed
It should have pocketed a little
some
more.
of that.
It was
Yeah,
too much.
yeah. Like I think yeah. So back to this relationship pocketing thing though. I will say this, right? So if you, in case you just got here, relationship pocketing is when you date somebody and they don't post you on social media. They just kind of don't let anybody on social media know about you. And the articles I read seem to have a sinister kind of take
Mm-hmm.
on it. Like, oh, they're trying to get over. Oh, they're trying to hide something. I don't see it as that sinister. I see it as
Mm-hmm.
people just taking the time to make sure you're the one, because it's embarrassing. You throw somebody out there on social media in front of all your Facebook friends, and then let's say the relationship ends a month later. I don't think it makes you look good.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you kind of like when you're kind of public, you're kind of committing. You're doubling down.
Yeah, I think also another perspective, just giving different perspectives, is that, sometimes people want to keep their options open.
That's true too.
They want to like, I don't know if I want to, if I put it in there, then all my options will shut down. I can't afford that. Some people think that too.
That's true. Well, the interesting thing, well, the one thing I think everybody knows this is that
Uh-huh.
once you post somebody out there like that, like once a man especially for men, women too, once you declare that this is my person,
Mm-hmm.
you're letting all other potential suitors know that you're taken,
I know. And
right?
just,
And yeah,
or
and
the ones that care, there's always some that don't care. They're just like, okay, he's taken, but I'm gonna try to still pursue him.
that's true. That's true.
They
Yeah.
be all over your
And we know
page.
men have always done that.
Men do it
Men
too.
do not care.
Men don't
Men
care.
consider the challenge
And
like,
women, there's some broads out here don't care.
well, yeah, the men and the women, they're saying we should just get rid of gender altogether. That men and women are the same, and that we should even have boys and girls
But there are
bathrooms.
a lot of women that don't really care. And men that don't care. But how did you feel? Because I didn't put anything on social media, and I didn't even really post you. Did you feel like I was pocketing you, boys?
No,
You didn't feel that way?
no, I didn't care.
I mean, and you know what? For me, I didn't put you on my Facebook page or anything. I just didn't even think about it. I
Yeah,
didn't even really think of, like, it never crossed my mind that I should put someone on there. I just didn't.
yeah, I don't know how
It
much of
wasn't
this.
sinister for me.
Well, I don't know how much of this varies by gender.
Hmm.
But I didn't need you to post me on social media for me to know what I had.
Exactly.
Like I know what I have by I can tell what I got and what I don't got just
Hmm.
by giving you a hug or spending 5 minutes with you. And I can just know, you know, a woman will tell you what you have. And she doesn't even
Hmm.
have to use words to tell you. You
Ah,
know what's yours and what's not yours.
so
And
it didn't even matter. You knew that our love was real, and I didn't have to put you on on Facebook to signify that.
yeah, I didn't look for it. And I didn't look for any signals outside of myself to tell me what I had. You
Okay,
know, and I think
I
that's
got it.
and I don't know. I assume everyone kind of either
Hmm.
understands it or is capable of understanding it, but I've always felt that way. Even when even when we got married and and there were some weird rumors about oh, she just wants to be with him because of his money, or oh, she really wants to be with Willie D, and because Willie D's my buddy and he was in the wedding, and it just people making stuff up, and it was like I didn't really care that much because I was like, well, it's not my goal to prove to you that this is my woman. It's my goal is to prove it to myself, to make sure I know it is
Hmm.
what it is. And I had no doubt. If I had a doubt, I would have
Um,
acted accordingly. But I had no doubt. You showed me time and time again, like, yeah, I really love boys. I don't know what lies in the depths of your subconscious. I don't need to know all that. I just know from my instinct of like what I have and what I don't have.
so it doesn't even, so it's independent. So whether a relationship is real or not is independent on if you pocketing them on social media or not.
Um,
Am I
I think
pocketing my heart?
I think it depends on how much
Because there
value.
could be somebody that could post a whole bunch of people on social media, and
Mhm.
them relationships not even real.
Yeah, yeah, and I kind of think we got to get past kind of worrying about what other people think too.
Hmm.
Your relationship is between you and that person. And I don't know. I can't tell people how to think, but if you're happy with what you're getting, then why do you care about all these other external factors that you know
Hmm.
like, oh, you're keeping your options open.
Hmm.
So if they're giving you a quality relationship, I just never cared. I've never really tried to check, like, hey, are you keeping your options open? Are you? I assume.
No, you don't do any of that.
Yeah, I make the assumption that if she's not interested in me, yeah, there'll be a bunch of other men waiting to take my spot, and she might pick one of them, and that's okay. But that's not relevant because I have you here right now
Ah,
until one of us decides otherwise. So I think people get a little bit too caught up in all these extras, and
if you're having a good relationship with someone and there's no other signal that they're not being transparent with you, what difference does it make if they post you on social media or not?
yeah, and I think one area where you and I are different is I assume no one's fully transparent. I don't feel like anybody is ever telling you every single thing that they're thinking,
Well, that's
doing,
not what
might be
transparent
doing.
means.
Right. Well, okay. So maybe you can define your version of
Transparent
transparency.
doesn't mean that transparent doesn't mean, give me everything that you're thinking about. I mean, I don't have to know everything that crosses your mind, but I'm talking about when we're dealing with each other, it needs to be real,
Hmm.
you know.
Yeah.
I
Well,
don't want you masking. I don't want you masking anything. Don't mask your feelings toward me.
no, I assume that if you're masking, I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah,
I can
exactly.
I can tell. Like, right. So I
Hmm.
think that, um when somebody's like, oh, when somebody there's like a spam in here, I gotta get
A
rid of that.
spammer.
Yeah, there's these weird spam bots that come in and they try to mess up your feed. But I don't know. I personally think if I'm dating, I've always just looked at my relationship based on what I see. I'm not trying to focus on all the things I think I don't see because
It can ruin the relationship, really. If you just start focusing on stuff that's not out of your control,
mhm.
you know if you can trust somebody, just how you interact with them.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Like I can say, I remember. Yeah, here's the other thing too. Sometimes you can mess up a good situation where where somebody isn't committed to you yet, but they're taking their time. They're going through their process, and because you're putting pressure on them, like, why didn't you post me on your social media? Why does nobody know where I am
what
or know who
difference
I am?
does that make? Yeah.
Yeah, well, what it does is it might cause you to lose a little bit that you do have.
Oh
You know,
yeah.
like I can tell you, I knew a guy who told me that he was dating this lady, and he really liked her, and he was ready to commit to her, and but the thing was he was caught between situations, and he was in the car with the girl he didn't want to be with, the girl he was ending things with, and he did like a
Keep
live
ending.
he,
Hmm.
he did like a live stream or something, and the girl that he liked.
Wait, are you talking about yourself?
No, I'm
Who
not.
else would do a live stream?
Lots of people do live streams, babe.
Oh, okay.
Instagram
All
Live.
right. You're not talking
Yeah,
about
so he
yourself.
was doing an Instagram Live, and he said that the girl that he liked gave him a lot of shit because she said, "Well, you didn't show on your live who was in the car with you." And she took that as you were with another woman, and which he was. But the thing was that she didn't understand that by being Inspector Gadget, that was a huge turnoff for him.
Well, wait. Okay, wait. So this person was dating two women at the same time?
He was transitioning.
Wait, did they know? Did she know he
I
was
don't
on
know.
the
I don't
outs?
know how much each person knew, but I know
Oh, that sounds like a player.
he probably was. Yeah, a lot of men. Here's the deal. Here's what I believe. This is just my 2 cents. I believe that if you're a man and you date an attractive woman, you need to go in with the assumption that she's got 10 other dudes that are trying to hit on her at the same time. Seriously, you got to go in with the assumption that there are going to be men every day trying to holler at her. Seriously. And
We're
then
not talking about her. We're
no, no,
talking
no.
about the
And then if you flip it, if you are a
guy.
woman dating a man of value, a high value man, which I think we can define what high. Kevin Samuels ain't the only
There's
one.
no high value people
I think
or
that
low value
I think
people.
that there are people who have high demand in the dating market and those
Okay.
who don't have the same
Well,
level
I'm
of demand.
I'm gonna respectfully disagree with
Right.
that.
If you're a woman,
Everybody's
no,
in
no, no, no. But
demand.
let me explain. Everybody's in demand, but some more
Mhm.
than others. If a woman
Maybe.
if a woman is dating a man who's a millionaire who's famous, women are everywhere all the time. They're always coming. They're always coming. You can't stop the flood. You can't drink the ocean. You can't stop the universe from being the universe. That's my 2 cents. So to me, the best thing you could do is chill out. Don't freak out because there's other people lurking around. Pay attention to what they're giving to you, what attention they're giving you. Like if I'm friends with a
Oh, so just be happy with the little bit that you get
I'm
from
not
that
saying
one
I'm not saying
person.
be happy with it. I'm saying that if you flip out too much and get caught up in too much territorialism, you
Territory. Okay.
yeah,
So
yeah,
maybe
let me give you an example.
was there an agreement that
No, but
person and who they
I
were
don't
dating,
I
is
don't
there
think that,
agreement that they were exclusive? Did they make it?
I don't think they had an agreement. I don't think
Oh, well, that's the
I think it
problem.
was one of those things where she was hoping to be solo and he was headed in that direction. But sometimes people move at their own pace, and if you freak out and you rush them, you're gonna lose them.
Putting pressure on them.
You're gonna go from you thought you had 100%, you find out you think you have 80%. Now you got 0%. Now you got zero, and maybe you were at 80 and
Maybe
moving.
she's freaking out because she's like, God, I thought I was dating this guy and now he's off with somebody
Yeah,
else.
and I think that's fine as long as she got a better man waiting in the wings. If she's got a better man in a better situation waiting, that's cool. But if she's
I
sitting
don't
at
know.
home,
That's just kind of relationship
if
messy.
she's sitting at home lonely, saying men are dogs, men ain't nothing, while
Oh, we don't know what
somebody else
people are
is now
saying.
enjoying the man that you threw away because you didn't have exactly what you wanted when you wanted. Sometimes people rush. That's my point. That's my
Oh,
2 cents.
okay. They're
I
going
think
too fast.
yeah, I think when you start pressuring people, putting ultimatums on people, I don't think that helps your position. Either it is what you need it to be or it's not. Either you walk away or you don't. And some people walk away too soon. I can see I know that happens because I know it's happened to me. I've seen, and again, with this
You
particular
walked
guy,
away too soon.
no, I've probably done it, but I've also seen times where women have walked away from me too soon because I was taking my time. It's like, no, I can't tell you if I'm gonna marry you yet. I can't tell you if I want to be
Oh, wait.
committed to
They
you.
wanted to be instant wife to
It's
you.
not instant. Sometimes it might just be we've known each other 2 months. You think we should have made a decision by now. I'm still not there yet.
Oh, did you make that clear?
Um, you don't have to tell everybody
I
everything
mean,
that's on your mind.
I don't think I didn't say everything on your mind. I said make expectations clear in a relationship. Just say, you know what? Let's just take it day by day and see how it goes. That's always nice to say. That's not saying everything. But
Hmm.
it's one thing when you lead people, string people on, and then they think it's something that it's not. That's all I'm
Right,
saying.
right. Well, I didn't make any explicit commitments.
Okay, so you
So
didn't make
if
okay, well then
I would.
whatever.
So my point is,
Hmm.
I think that generally my point here is to say, in this particular case with this guy, I know I know him pretty well, and he had no reason to lie to me. And he said, "Yeah, I was really thinking about getting serious with this girl." And when she started flipping out,
Oh,
that
she's
made
acting
me
crazy.
nervous. That made me walk away. So it's almost like if a man is trying to get a woman to sleep with him, studies show that if he's, she might be thinking about it, she might be teetering, she might be going back and forth, and if he's like, "Well, damn it, you need to make a decision now," well, a lot of times a woman would be like, "Okay, well, my decision's now made."
But
You
this
pull
is talking about commitment.
No, well, commitment's the same thing. He's
Okay.
saying you need to commit to having sex with me, and she's saying I'm not ready to commit yet.
I don't know. I think it's just important when you're playing with when you're dating and you're out there dating. I think it's just important to keep the expectations very clear. I think it's very important to consider someone's feelings and not to just kind of play around like that with somebody's emotions and just make sure because clearly there was a discrepancy between expectations. Maybe someone wants more than you're willing to give, and we know about that. Like, I just
Mhm.
can't give you a relationship right now. It's so important that you're clear about that because you don't want to break somebody's heart.
Well, you don't, but I mean, people's hearts get broken. If you don't want your heart broken, you should never date anyone
Well,
ever.
the best way to not break someone's heart is to just be honest about what you want in that moment. Say, this is what I'm comfortable with. I just want to let you know. And I think that some people feel led on, or
I,
some people just hard of hearing. I don't know.
I can get that. I can get that. I think also one thing I don't see acknowledged enough is
Hmm.
that men and women communicate differently. Women tend to be the ones I hear talk about the importance of, like, you can never tell a lie. If you lie, then that's a bad thing. Men, I've kind of always assumed people just lie. Like I've never assumed
So
that.
that's your working model. You have an internal
Well, my
working
working
model.
model is like
Your working
because
model
I don't look at what
is
human beings tell me the way the world should be. I look at the way the world is. That's what I do. I
Because
look at.
that's the world that you were given, or
No,
the
it's not
world
the
that
world I
you
was given.
operate
It's the
in.
world that I've observed. I'm an observer. I'm a scientist. I
Uh-huh.
observe human behavior, and I notice that that not everybody is always ready to tell you every single detail of every single thing that they're thinking or doing or whatever. So I
Well,
just
you don't. No one
I
owes
right.
anybody
So I
every
don't
single
right. So
detail.
I judge you based on what I see you do, not what you say. So if you tell me, you could tell
Mhm.
me you don't love me, but if every action in your body shows me that you do, then I must say, oh, she says she don't love me, but she does. She's lying to herself, or she's trying to talk herself out of loving me. But oh, she wants this. That's what I would do. That's what I would be
Really?
thinking.
So a no means a yes
I'm not
sometimes.
saying no means yes because
Uh huh.
I don't want to create like
All right.
a
Just
weird
want to make that
rapey
clear.
conversation. But no, but
Uh
seriously,
huh.
like everybody knows what I'm talking about. We all grown up in here. I'm not talking about anything that's violating another person. I'm not talking about that. But like, and I just encourage people to do that. Listen to your damn instincts. Look at what you see, not what you hear.
But a lot of times, what you pay attention to depends on your disposition in the first place. Like if you have a working model, um, it gets shown out into how you see the world and what you pay attention to in the world. I mean, not everybody has that same perspective because that's not what's in them. It's not what's in their subconscious.
Hmm.
Because you really draw to yourself all the things that you believe, your beliefs and your thoughts and everything. It colors the way you see the world. I mean, there are some people who have a totally different disposition, totally different working model on what they feel like the world is like. And guess what? The world gives them that because that's how they feel.
Lady Visionary is watching from Rwanda. How cool is that?
What's up, Rwanda?
Wow, Rwanda is an awesome, beautiful place. Yeah, by the way, you're listening to
Mhm.
Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. This is where two college professors wake up and lay against their pillows and have conversations that we have, with each other all the time. We just figured that you guys might be interested in joining the discussion. So if you could, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe if you haven't done it yet. Also, Alicia's website is coachingwithdralicia.com. She's a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work. And also, if you're interested in joining us at the All Black National Convention, where we will have politics and panels and keynotes and speed dating and the gala and everything else, just go to boycewatkins.com. And for today, you can actually get 30% off your early bird pass to the convention. The convention is awesome, and Alicia and I will both be there. And I'll put my website, boycewatkins.com, on the screen so you can go there if you want to get a discount on your passes. All right, so um, you know, I hear that, right, and I think that overall, here's one thing I think is true for sure. When we are going into relationships, it seems to me, again, you're the person who studied all the textbooks. You have all the licenses, so
Well,
I
I just want to jump in. I studied the textbooks, but I also have clients that I see.
right.
You
So
know, so
you right.
there's a connection. It's not just textbook.
Hmm.
It's, of course, my own personal life, but it's also, I'm into the lives of a whole bunch of different people.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you are
For 20 years. I'm a 20-year licensed
yes, you are
therapist.
20
Thank you
years
very
deep.
much.
20 years deep in this game. Much respect.
Okay.
Okay, so you
Mhm.
are the therapist, you are the person who's seeing the clients, etc. But let me give you I'm gonna give you all I can give you is Uncle Boyce. That's it.
Go ahead.
That's it. All I can give you is Uncle
I'm very
Boyce.
curious what comes out of
Uncle
your mouth.
Boyce, thinks a lot and he observes a lot, but he may not always be right. Here's my Uncle
Well, it's
Boyce
a
perspective.
perspective.
Here's
It's
my
not.
right. So here's
Hmm.
my Uncle Boyce perspective. What I have observed, and this is something I learned and I started applying, and it really worked for me. One thing I learned is that when you um, express too much insecurity in a
Yeah.
relationship, it almost never works out in your favor.
Yeah.
And that means if you think you're being played and you start asking all a million and one questions and making a million and one assumptions and everything else, it doesn't mean that you're not right. It just means that if you are coming up and you're giving ultimatums and you're pushing the issue, I mean, just be prepared for the fact that whatever little bit you had,
Hmm.
somebody else is going to have that little bit, And maybe it doesn't mean anything. Maybe you'd rather be at home by yourself with nobody, alone forever, than to have had that person that you speculated wasn't giving you 100% of what you thought that they should give you. Um, but just as long as you understand that trade-off, right? And I don't think we talk about that enough. We don't talk about how many people, because the thing is, I know men and women are flawed. I know men really well, and I know a lot of men who I feel like are quality dudes. They just, but they're not. They don't fit. They don't always fit the fairy tale. And I've just seen people kind of walk away like, oh, I found out that you're not doing this thing the way I thought you were supposed to do it. And then it's like, okay, well, then somebody else scoops up. They're like, okay, well, I'll take them, girl. You know, and and you're like by yourself. And I guess, and I'm not saying that
Well,
this is
maybe she needed to be by themselves,
right.
because maybe it just wasn't a good fit at that time. Like, you never know. Like, sometimes relationships flourish because of the timing. Sometimes
Yeah,
the timing isn't there, and it's no sense of being insecure about anything. Like, you can't, like, there are people like me, myself, and, and other women. It's just like, what, it is what it is. If it's supposed to be, it will be. I'm not even going to stress myself worrying about some man. There's tons of men out there.
that's so
That's
true.
sort of my perspective in the dating world.
Yeah.
There's lots of men out there. I ain't gonna sweat this one guy. There's people out there, and that's my working model. My working model is that there's an abundance out there, and so
Do
whoever
you
is
think that
supposed to be with
if
me.
that's your working model? Do you think that that's reality, or do you think that that's your reality?
Reality is what you make it, boys.
Okay,
It's what you
well
make
let
it.
me
And
ask
so
you.
my reality is that there's an abundance, and I ain't gonna run down some man and try to
Hmm.
beg him to be with me. That's stupid.
Right.
And so either he likes it or he don't. There's gonna be somebody else that like it. If you don't like me, that's fine. That's perfectly fine.
Hmm.
We will part ways. Still gonna be cool, but there's someone else out there for me. And whether I meet them or whether I don't meet them, it's okay anyway.
Have I told you that I think you're beautiful?
I hope you think I'm beautiful on the inside. That's
Yeah.
that's my
Well, I
that's
think
my
you're beautiful
vision.
on the inside and the outside. I noticed your outside before I got to know your inside.
Well, I like to be, when you say that I'm beautiful, and I appreciate that. I'm
Hmm.
hoping that you're talking about me as
I
a person.
Yeah, I think you're a beautiful person and a beautiful
Okay.
woman. So here's what
What?
here's my point. I
What's your
think you're
point,
so
boy?
beautiful. And I and you, despite what you say about college, I think a lot of men noticed how beautiful you were. And I think you had a perspective based on that. You had an abundance of men
I did
that were no,
not.
you had when you tell me about the guys from the Indiana Pacers who were hitting on you. That don't happen to
Okay, it
everybody.
was one
Most
guy.
women don't have guys that are in the NBA trying to hit on them, or the basketball star in Indiana. We're not going to talk about who it was that was hitting on you. I think that then here's my point, right? I'm not a poor person. I'm not a poor man. I've made a lot of money in my life, and if somebody comes along and they say, "Gosh, it's really hard to get money out here. It's really hard to make ends meet," and let's say I come along and I say, no, I choose an abundance framework. There's an abundance of money available.
Yeah.
Why stress out over money? Quit that job because there's an abundance of
No
money.
one said quit
I'm not. Well, hold on.
jobs.
Wait, or whatever. Wait, or your boss disrespected you. Why would you chase that job? You need to quit that job because there's an abundance of money.
Okay.
I'm not saying that that can't be true, right? Because I have told people, there are opportunities for you to if you quit your job and change your mindset. I do believe that, but I have to be careful because if I just say, "Oh, there's money for everybody. There's plenty of money." What are you talking about? You
There
just
is there is money to be made for
there is, but
everybody.
listen, mate, let me make my point. Hold on.
What's your point?
My point is to say that there might be somebody who legitimately comes to me and says, "Boyce, your worldview was shaped by your experience. Your experience getting money is not the same as a working class person, who doesn't have a PhD, who isn't known around the world, who doesn't have a million people following him on YouTube and Facebook." Right. So my point is to say that I think that when you say there's an abundance, or you say to a woman who maybe is lonely and who feels like she can't meet quality men, when you say, "Oh, there's an abundance of men, girl,"
Well,
this.
that's the problem. She feels like she can't meet quality men. You have to get out of that. You have to feel like I can meet
But what
quality
about
men.
all the studies that show that there are fewer marriage eligible black men than there are black women. Do you
That's
think?
mind control.
I get it. Okay, maybe it is, but this was written
That's
by,
just bullshit
but it
people
was
put
written,
out.
but hold on, but it was written by The Economist. The Economist wrote,
And
listen, but let me explain. I'm not telling, okay, how about this? Just hear it as a perspective. Don't agree,
mhm.
disagree. We know you disagree. We know you think that this is not real. Okay, but or that it's mind control. But let me just lay it out there though. There are studies that show that when you look at things like income or marriage eligibility, there are fewer black men than there are black women. That a Stanford professor just wrote an article that was very controversial in the New York Post, and he actually said that black women should consider marrying white men. He said because when you look at all the indicators of what makes a person, hold
why
on,
white men?
listen, hold on,
Hmm.
or non-black men, maybe he said white men, but maybe it could be Indian men, African men, whatever,
Hmm.
right? Um, you know, when you look at the indicators of the things that make a man ready to get married, income, just desire to do it, whatever. He said there's multiple black women for every black man. You know, and now the rules I think change when you talk about um beautiful black women. I think beautiful black women, yeah, they're in that rare spot where there are more opportunities for them than for regular
I
women.
don't know about that.
But for that average woman who isn't, I mean, remember when I met you and you were the prettiest thing I'd ever seen in my life. I thought you were so gorgeous. I didn't feel that way about every woman I met. So I just think that there's a perspective out there that maybe could be acknowledged.
Yeah, but when you met me, you have to understand it was 3 years before I got into a relationship after I met. I was single for three
I think
years.
that was by choice. I think that was
It
because
was
you.
not by
I think that was
choice.
because you were in the library, and also remember,
It was not
I knew
by
you back
choice.
then, and we know of certain guys that would come and pick you up from work, and you'd be like, "Oh, he picked me up from work. That's so nice." And I explained to you,
He didn't ever
I
wanted to
said,
date
but
me.
I explained to you, I said, men don't take time out of their schedule. Busy
Yeah, I never
men,
thought about it
as
like
busy
that.
as him, don't take time out of their schedule. Go pick a girl up from
He
work.
was trying to
If
get
they,
some from me. He wasn't trying to have no relationship with me.
whatever he was trying to get,
And it didn't work.
he was trying to connect, right? Whatever that is. So generally speaking, I would just say e- everybody's experience ain't the same. That's my point. And I do hear from a lot of black women who tell me that it's challenging. I don't think they're just being negative. I don't think they're just being like, oh, like, I'm just gonna have a scarcity mindset. No, they're not. They're out here trying to date, and they're
Yeah.
like,
And
Lord
I've seen
Jesus.
some of these women, date. And I'm just like, sometimes I feel like their standards, and not to say that you shouldn't have standards, but I just feel like one little thing and they're like, he did that one thing, I'm done with him. I'm like, well, good grief, that's not enough to just throw the whole possibility out down the drain. I think there's some women that I see who are dating, and that's why I put that post up on my Instagram, where they just like they find one little thing and then they're done. And I just feel like they're not giving men a chance. It's just like they're looking for something wrong with him. There's something wrong with him, and I'm gonna look for it. And those are the women that I find are single and have
Maybe,
a very difficult time.
maybe,
It's like
but
you're not giving them a chance. Get to know the person on the individual level.
okay.
Who cares if he's a millionaire or if he's a garbage collector or janitor? Who cares about that? Get into who that person is. And I think a lot of women just take themselves out of the possibility.
So you think that a lot of the single black women are single because they're just not dating right correctly?
No, I don't feel like that. I feel as if I'm just this is just based on what I've seen. There's options out there for everybody. And there are some people, not everybody. There are some people who are just not putting themselves out there. They're just afraid.
Yeah, and I think that circles back to that point I was making earlier about insecurity.
Yeah.
I think that you know what I think about my visual, my framework
Uh-huh.
when it comes to dating, especially if you're trying to date a beautiful woman or somebody who is desired by others. I see it almost like trying to win the Tour de France. Has anybody ever watched the Tour de France and ever been astonished by how close together those bikes are? There's like 50, 60 bikers, maybe 100. I don't know how many there are, but they're all riding within inches of each other and they're going very fast. So any one little flinch, any point of nervousness by any of them will set up a chain reaction. All of them fall down. Right?
It's dangerous.
Right. It's very dangerous, right? So in order to win the Tour de France, you got to be able to keep your cool. You can't get flipped out and be like, oh my God, he's trying to take my position. Oh my God, he's gonna beat me. Oh my God, he's too close to me. Right. And and I would say that when it comes to dating, I, you know, especially with, in times where in many occasions I've dated women that, before I even dated you, when I would date a woman that was really attractive and I would see how other men looked at her and the fact that I was in a very competitive race, I would just kind of know, like, yeah, there's probably some guy that's sitting right there in her back pocket that she could get with at any moment. There's probably some guy lurking around, orbiting her as her male friend who would jump and take my spot at any moment. There's maybe there's more going on I don't even know about, but I can't think about all that. I wouldn't,
you should never think about
what
that.
I learned is that you can't let your insecurities, but that's the thing. I see people do that all the time.
They do it all the time.
People flip out. Like I see men who flip out like, what, he said something to you, you were nice to him, you flirted with him. What is all that about? I don't respond to any of that.
Mm-hmm.
I observe it. I take in the information, but you will never see me, most of the time when I'm in my right mind, you'll never see me go off in a jealous rage.
Mm-hmm.
Even with Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, keep my wife's name out your mouth.
Oh, I love that.
I wouldn't do that because I'm not going to allow my insecurities put me in like some kind of weird rage where I weaken my position. Because you might have a reason.
Wait, do you think that Chris Rock was trying to hit on her?
No, not hit on her.
Oh, okay.
No. But it was something. It was something.
Said jealous rage.
It was something where Will felt, he felt some kind of way about.
Well, he explained it. He felt like he needed to protect.
He was responding to a threat. He was responding to a threat with aggression, and that's what I'm saying. So when you think somebody might take your woman, that's another kind of threat.
Oh, okay.
So some men respond to all threats with aggression. Some women respond to all threats with either fight or flight. Either I'm gonna go and kick that lady's ass, or I'm gonna cuss you out, or I'm gonna walk away. Sometimes it's better. The people I've seen who win are the ones who stay cool and they just take it on. They observe. You stay cool. Don't overreact. You ain't got to go kick that lady's ass. You ain't got to go confront him over every little possible situation. You don't have to, and you run away.
You pick and choose what you feel like
right
is important to you, and of course, there's always, in terms of communication, there's always a good way of communicating how you feel, whether it's jealousy or rage or just some uncomfortableness. Those are real feelings, and they should be communicated and acknowledged, not necessarily in an anger, in a rage. But those things are real and they can be talked about, and that doesn't mean the end of the relationship or it's doomed or you're just being possessive. You're just dealing with feelings.
Yeah,
as a human being.
I can get that, but I think, and this is my framework. My framework is I think about like when I play poker. You know that I'm pretty good with poker. Like I've won tournaments with hundreds of people in a poker tournament. And one thing I've learned about poker is that 9 times out of 10 or 8 times out of 10, the best move is to make no move at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's to take in the information and process it, understand what's going on around you. Now, when you make a move,
you make a move, you gotta
really make
smack it out.
You gotta make it. You gotta make it, and you gotta think carefully. But most of the time, your moves need to be made internally in your head. Just reposition, think about it, process it, figure out what's going on. So that because I've seen people blow a good situation because they overreacted to something that wasn't even relevant.
Well, it just wasn't for them anyway.
Yeah, like I don't really think that a woman has to overreact just because there's some woman in her man's DM that he flirted with. If he loves you and he's really going all out for you, he might be expressing that side of himself. And and sometimes it can be bad, right? Sometimes it can.
Flirting is not good if you're in a committed relationship.
Right, it's not. It's not appropriate.
Flirting.
I agree, and I don't think. But I think that's where my framework is. My framework is that we don't live in a fairy tale where everything's perfect and according to the textbook. We live in a real world where people do real things and real things happen. And I try to understand the real world, not the world. I don't understand the world as it should be. I understand the world as it is. So I understand.
I'm gonna send you a flirtatious text in your DM.
You can.
I feel like you missed out. You missed out on
No.
me being. I'm gonna be like a big fan. Be like, oh my God, it's the Voice
No, baby, I
Podcast,
don't need that.
and I'm gonna put.
I
I'm gonna
have
put
had
a
that.
DM.
I have already
I'm
seen
gonna
it.
put a message in your DM and
Baby,
see what
I've
you do.
been there. I've been there, done that. I have had a couple of times where women have messaged me and flat out told me I am in love with you. I be because you have what is it they call them, sapiosexuals.
Uh-huh.
You have women that get like aroused by a man's intelligence, and I have a lot of education, so I
So
guess.
people don't think you're handsome. Could it be because you're
You know
handsome?
what? I don't know. I don't even ask. I don't. It doesn't. It does, and it's fine. I don't judge it. I just observe it. It helps me understand human behavior more. I really do. It's fascinating to me. I mean, it's not. It's not like it makes me mad or repulses me or scares me. It's just like, wow.
Oh, it's gotta be. I would be flattered. It would be flattering to me
Mm,
if someone's in my DMs talking about they love me and they just like my. It would be flattering.
Charles
You don't
Jackson is
think so?
telling me to shut up. He's saying my wife and I don't want to hear you, Dr. Boyce, because you're stupid. We want to hear Dr. Alicia.
You do. You do most of the talking,
Oh
but that's okay.
no, it's your turn to talk. Man, Charles is right. Charles shut me
You've
up.
been go. You've
He
been
said,
going
he
on
said,
for a
shut
while.
up, Negro. You
Well, I
running your
mean,
mouth.
that's just how it is because you're a YouTuber. I mean, this is what you do. This is your full time thing is to talk, and my full time job is to listen.
Well, my full time thing is not to talk.
You
Most
do talk a
My full
lot.
time work actually is staff meetings and analyzing data and working with my team. That's my full time job. If you notice, I'm only online maybe 10% of my day.
What?
Yeah,
10% of your day you're online.
yeah.
I would up that percentage.
No, because most of the clips I do, if you notice, they're 1 minute Black Money minutes. They take 5 minutes to do.
Mm-hmm.
And once a day, I do a full podcast, which is like about 20 minutes, and then the rest of the day I'm working.
Mm-hmm. But you're running your mouth all day though. You
Well,
talk a lot.
well, I'm a teacher. I mean, people,
Exactly.
but that doesn't mean I'm like necessarily doing like YouTube stuff all day. I don't do YouTube stuff all
Oh,
day.
okay.
No, that's what automation is for.
Oh, okay. I get the
Yeah,
secrets, the ins and outs of Boyce Watkins
yeah,
and
yeah.
your DMs. I'm gonna be in your DMs today, by the way.
Yeah, you can go in
You
there.
better, and I want you to respond. Don't be ignoring me.
Oh Lord Jesus.
I'm
Oh gosh.
gonna
Anyway,
put something flirtatious in there.
you're listening to Pillow Talk with Dr. Boyce and Dr. Alicia Watkins. This is our podcast where we lay against our pillow and have professor talk. So if this is your kind of thing, feel free to subscribe at boyceandaliciatv.com. That's where our YouTube channel is located. And also want to remind you guys, don't forget the All Black National Convention is coming up at the end of October. I'm going to talk about it a lot more and more as we get closer to it. So you guys can just really be ready. It's a really awesome event. And Dr. Alicia is going to be there. And for today only, you can actually get 30% off your early bird pass if you want to come to the convention. And this is a great place for people who put the Black community first to meet up with other people who think like you. So we have speed dating, we have panels on everything from crypto to politics to relationships to everything in between, education, how we can educate our own kids. And so if you're interested in buying your pass, you can go to boycewatkins.com. The URL is right there on the screen. And you can also learn more about some of this other stuff we have going on. Okay, so any final thoughts about, let's circle back to pocketing. This idea that if you don't put a person on social media, that means you are kind of hiding them.
That is always possible. But I think what we got down to is that um, the biggest thing to think about is what is your relationship like with that person? Is it solid? Do you know that it's real love? And it doesn't even matter if you post me on social media, if you don't, I know what I got is real.
Okay.
And
Okay.
hopefully you're in tune enough to know if that person is playing you or not being transparent.
Okay. Sean
Right?
Lindsay asks, he says, "Good morning. I just met a young lady. My question is it rude to not return a courtesy phone call?"
Yeah. Return that phone call.
Call that girl back, Sean.
Call
Call.
them back. I don't call me. I don't know how things are, but I don't usually call. I don't call you very much. I don't even call you a lot.
Yeah, I
Like,
don't.
you know, I don't believe it's just something that's my internal working model. It's what I grew up with. The idea
Mhm.
that women just stop calling men all the time. Like, I don't believe that women need to just be keep calling them. If a man is interested in me, he'll call me. That's how I knew you were interested in me, Boyce. You kept calling me.
Mhm.
I wasn't gonna track you down. I ain't one of them.
Well,
It's just is what it is. If you want to talk to me, we'll talk. If I want to talk to you back, I'll answer. If I don't, if I got something else to do, I won't do it. I don't sweat that kind of stuff.
yeah. You know what? One thing I would encourage people to consider is, if you are dating and all this other stuff, or trying to figure it all out, take time. Or even if you're married, take time to get to understand the opposite sex. Learn about the world, observe. Like I remember, I feel like sometimes we just misinterpret signals, or we get bad advice from people that ain't even got a relationship, but you give them relationship advice, and I found that so weird, and so people end up
I don't like that picture.
making just the weirdest decisions. And again, maybe I think differently because I'm a scientist. A scientist is supposed to observe, right? So, what? Oh, okay, yeah. So ultimately, it's kind of like, um, when I think about just generally, I don't know. I think overall, I really think that there are so many times where we throw away good situations because we overreact.
It just
That's
wasn't meant to be.
that's my point.
The fact that you were overreacting, you take that. That's why I love when people just put themselves out there and get into a relationship. And sometimes you overreact, and sometimes you get things wrong, and sometimes you make mistakes, and sometimes you blow it. I think those experiences are so valuable because you have to be able to reflect on that and say, you know what, I really messed up that relationship because I kept hawking him. I kept pressuring him into a relationship, and I never should have done that. Let me move on and take that lesson with me to the next one.
Yeah,
I think there are no unfortunate things. It's just learning opportunities
yeah, I can see
that
that
you
too.
never would have learned that lesson had you not been pursued that person and let that person into you.
Yeah, I think really, I mean, again, like, as a person who thinks in terms of just strategy of you getting what you want out of life,
Hmm.
um, I think there's always trade offs to everything, right? Like there is such a thing as your biological clock, and if you spend your whole life learning lessons, then you may not get what you want. You may figure it out when you're 55 and you can't have kids anymore, or you may figure it out, after the love of your life has walked away
Yeah.
because you overreacted to something that wasn't really a big deal. And
Well, I mean,
and
it's the way it was the order of things anyway. You can't just sit and be all nervous about what you're doing day to day. You really have to let it flow because I really do think I don't want to be fatalistic, but there is an order of things. Maybe it wasn't supposed to be for you until you're 50. Maybe that's the way things are going to be and it's okay. It just has to be okay. I think the problem that holds people back is that nervousness and that angst and that anxiety and all those insecurities. You're good enough. You're good enough. And you proceed through the world just like you're good enough and you're worthy of being loved. And you're worthy of showing love.
okay, and I
Mhm.
agree. I agree that you're worthy of showing love. I do agree that you have to let it flow. At the same time, I believe that you have power, and power means you do have the ability to make it flow a certain way. That if I
Exactly.
if I go through life determined to make terrible choices, and I say, hey, I just was meant to be in prison. I was meant to be dead at the age of 25. I
Well,
was meant to be hooked on
well,
drugs.
that is a
I
lesson for some people. That is their
Well,
lesson.
that is their lesson, but that doesn't have to be your lesson. There's other lessons you can learn on your rise to the top.
Well, everybody has their own. And there are a lot of people who have had substance abuse issues and they've come back from that and they're stronger than they ever were had they not experienced those things. So it's not always, those terrible things that happen to you. It's not just the terrible things. It's your ability. What's your ability to learn from them so that you don't keep repeating them over and over again?
Yeah, I don't disagree,
Hmm.
but the way we were kind of raised in our household is if you don't do a bunch of stupid things in the beginning, you can minimize the number of horrible, hard lessons you're gonna have to learn. Life won't have to spank you in the butt as much to get you to grow up if you can learn from other people. Like I didn't learn a lot from my own mistakes, and when I was young, I learned from other people's mistakes.
Okay.
Like I saw. I had uncles and friends that went to prison, and I would study how they ended up in that situation, and I would avoid that, right? So I think that the fatalism is there, but I encourage everyone to kind of have a balance to know that part of your fate is driven by you. A big chunk
Absolutely.
of your fate is driven by your ability to think proactively.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of your fate is driven by a lot of your fate is, is driven by genetics. It's driven by your family environment, but it's also driven by your own intelligence and your ability to reflect and have insight into the world. And to know that if you have a desire, your desire is the genius inside of you. That's why I'm so inspired by documentaries and people's life, because they followed their genius. They followed what was inside of them, and gosh darn it, I'm gonna do the same thing in my life. So
Mm.
it is the ability to learn from other people, but to also learn from your own mistakes. You're gonna make mistakes.
You said, "Gosh darn it."
Gosh darn it. Is
No,
that bad?
well, that's better than saying, "God damn it."
Yeah, I
So,
don't want to say that. That's the only cuss word. Did you know that? All those other words are just made up.
really?
There's only one cuss word.
What? Damn.
Hmm.
Wow.
The other words are just, there's a history of cursing.
Talk about
I don't want
random
to get into
factoids.
that. I read a lot of books, so I have
You
a lot
do.
of
You
crazy
do.
facts in my head. So I don't want to get into the
Yeah,
curse words and how they came about, but it's political.
very
I'll
interesting.
just boil it down to curse words are political.
Curse words are political.
Yeah,
All right, that'll be our final
we'll
thought.
just be
That's our
done with
final
that.
thought. All right, well, everybody, again, if you could hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up, share, subscribe, before you go. If you want to take a look at what Dr. Alicia does, she sees couples and on relationship issues. She's a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work. Feel free to visit coachingwithdralicia.com, or you can follow her on Instagram at Coaching with Dr. Alicia. Also, if you'd like to join us at the All Black National Convention in October, you can get a discount on your passes right now, and do the early bird for 30% off. So feel free to go to boycewatkins.com and take a look. And the passes are available at the discount until midnight tonight. So feel free to go take a look. All right, everybody. Well, have a great day. God bless you. It was real. We're about to go eat breakfast. Have a good day.
I'm so excited for breakfast.
Me
Bye,
too.
everyone.
Bye bye.